Hi, Kirsty. Everybody, this is Kirsty Salisbury. She is a speaker and a podcast and a coach of so many things. We were just talking, Kirsty, about what it was. And I was like, I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hand it over to you and you're going to just take it away because, wow, you have got so many things under your belt. I'm so excited for everybody to hear about what it is that you do.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Thank you very much for having me here. And it's true, people ask me all the time, so what is it that you do? And every time I kind of get stumped going, well, I do this and I do that. So if we want to narrow it down, I'm a speaker, so I do public speaking. I do a little bit of training, so a few workshops and things like that. I run podcasts. I've actually got 3 podcasts because one is never enough for me. One, which is my primary one. I know, right? So that keeps me quite busy. And I've written a book, so I'm an author. I'm a life coach. I'm a death coach, which is something that we can talk about a little bit more during this time.
Yeah.
Because, death coaching, I think, is something that's quite new. It's something that's on the rise. Mm-hmm. I'm absolutely fascinated by death. And again, that's another conversation killer. If you go to a party or you're at a barbecue or something, people go, what do you do? And you say, well, I don't really know, but I'm completely fascinated by death.
Did they get like the picture of like the Grim Reaper and you're holding the thing and, you know?
Do you know, it's hard to know because their eyes can kind of roll back and they go, oh my goodness, I've got the crazy one at the barbecue. I've got the, how people think. So it's interesting. And then other people really want to know more. They want to know all about my research, what I've been learning, what I've been teaching, things like that. But it comes down to life is for living, and I want us to live the most beautiful, juicy, full, amazing lives as possible. And then I want us to die the most beautiful, juicy, amazing deaths as possible. So I'm all about being in the moment, about making the most of everything. And I believe that we can design so much of what happens to us and what we experience. There's a lot in there, isn't there? It's all about living, it's all about dying, but it's about being connected, I think, more than anything else.
Absolutely. And I guess this is what I'm hoping that this platform that we're on now will actually help to do, because with COVID-19 flying around, pardon me, there's a lot of people who are potentially in this opportunity now to really start to tap into their mortality. Right? That there is a possibility that you could get this unseen thing that's flying around and moving around that we don't know where it is. And it's just like the concept of death in itself, right? It could touch you at any time. You don't really know. So COVID can touch you at any time, right? But are there things in place that we can do to create the best possible life? You're a podcast of Let's Talk Life Design, right? And got your books. And it's about how we can, and you can talk more to this, of course, is how can we live more in the moment and how can we have a more enjoyable life and how can we plan everything that we need to plan so that by the time that death does come our way, that we can do everything in a really beautiful, loving, almost peaceful way, as opposed to it's a really scary thing. Life is really scary. Death is really scary. And we're coming from a place of fear.
Absolutely. I think death, it's changing a little bit at the moment, but generally it's a conversation that we don't have until it happens. Exactly. So somebody gets sick and we know that they're very likely to die or that the death is imminent. Then we start to talk about it, but we probably didn't talk about it before the illness came. If somebody has an accident or they're in a scenario where someone loses a life, again, the person has died, or we talk about passing away. It's so interesting that we don't address death head on. We kind of tiptoe around it. And I think this is changing so much at the moment. So I really want to help to change the conversation on death. And like you're saying, with COVID-19, there is a lot of death happening. And my heart, I'm not going to belittle that at all. There are some people going through some extraordinary, difficult times right now. People are dying. We are losing people. It is a very difficult time. But for us who aren't directly related to that, aren't impacted by the virus itself. I know here in New Zealand we're in lockdown, or we're going into our compulsory lockdown in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
For me, I work from home, so I'm still at home, and you know, I think so much goodness sorry, I'm getting my words all mixed up.
That's okay.
I think so much goodness can come out of what's happening. Yeah. Despite all of the awfulness, the terribleness. And I talk about this quite a bit. I talk about the gift of crisis, and how even in our darkest, most difficult, horrible moments, there is always something good that can come. There's always something positive we can design out of these situations. And people always say to me, okay, so what are these things? And I have got my book. It's called A Life by Design. I've written that book to help people to learn how to overcome major crisis, how to overcome really difficult situations and find the good things. But also in this COVID-19, I think the earth, I mean, look around, people are being forced to stop.
Yeah.
People are being forced to slow down and to actually look at the way that they've been living their lives. So I've been concerned for quite a while that things are getting faster and faster and faster. Yeah. And I've got a husband who, I mean, his brain is just so switched on. He's so amazing in terms of technology and futuristic projects. And I find it quite overwhelming, to be fair, because he can see so far into the future of how things are happening. And I'll say to him, we can't keep going like this. We can't keep going. It's just too fast. It's increasing. There's so many things happening. When does the world break? And I think the world may have just had a glimpse of what it would be like to break.
Yeah, like when you start getting that error message on your computer, or your light comes on the dashboard on your car, and you're like, what's this? What do I do now? And we have to stop, and we have to go and get it checked out. It's almost like that is exactly what's happening right now.
Absolutely. I think the light's been on for a little while. The dashboard for Earth has been on for a while, and now it's, you know, coming to crisis moment. But what's happening is people are home. They're literally stuck with people that maybe they don't see very much of. We're stuck with our loved ones at home, with our families. The majority of us are. There are some people who are on their own or in a difficult situation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy for us to be stuck with our families 24/7 either for the next 4 weeks. But I do think, look at the goodness that's coming out there. We're being forced to connect. We're being forced to prioritize new things. It's no longer the pace of get up and go, 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 go and work really hard. Already I've got some people saying to me, wow, I'm noticing my stress levels feel really different. There is the initial raise of stress where people are concerned about, what about my job security? How am I going to pay my bills? What's this going to do? Am I going to get sick? Is my family going to fall apart? All of these things. But there's also reduced stress of, I don't have all those nagging work things that are harassing me. I can sleep at night. My body can rest. There's going to be a lot more people eating healthier food from home, you know, rather than going to restaurants and socializing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, drinking levels are going to come down. Yep. Hopefully there's all these great things. People are going to start to exercise in the form of, they need to get out the house. So we can't go and socialize, but we can go for a walk around the block. We can go and do something brief. So I think in terms of wellness, this is a really key time. The earth itself is getting the most amazing, beautiful detox. Yeah. I can't remember where it was, but someone said something the other day that there was reports, Venice, my husband was telling me about Venice and how for the first time in I don't even know how long, the water, you can see through it. And that it's not all muggy and clogged up with pollution and chemicals and oils and all these things. And you just think how much goodness this is all going to have on the earth. And so things are going to greatly heal. And yes, there is loss, there is death, but there's the most amazing opportunity through this for the world, for the globe, and for us individually. So absolutely. I'm talking a whole lot.
No, Kirsty, I love that, because you're coming from a place of resilience yourself with your story, and you're coming from a place of hardship, and you're coming from a place of, you know, where your life was potentially put on hold, if we can say that. I don't know if you want to talk more about it, because it might actually help people understand, you know, where is all this wonderful words of wisdom coming from. I mean, you know, we look at you now and we go, she just looks like, you know, she just had a life like the rest of us. But actually, you know, from what I've heard you talk about and what I know of you, is that life wasn't always a box of roses for you.
No, it wasn't. So to fill people in who are listening to this, I was a very happy, active child. And then literally just like that, I experienced a sudden brain illness. And what this did is it took me right up to my deathbed, slightly beyond. I had what we call a near-death experience. And then I came back, and then I woke up in a hospital bed in critical care, tubes everywhere. I had emergency brain surgery, which hadn't gone so well, which is why I died on the operating table.
Wow.
I was now completely paralyzed down one side of my body, and there were all of these quite negative words being given to me about my life, about how maybe I'd never walk again, I'd probably never talk again. You know, my mouth was literally drooping and I was dribbling like a newborn, and I felt just so abandoned and out of control in my life. And you know, I was completely clued up mentally. My brain, you know, I do have a little brain injury there because they've removed bits of my brain and put it together with metal clips and things like that. So there is some stuff that goes on in terms of that, but most of all, my brain was fully functioning. I'd had this beautiful experience, and I had a life ahead of me where I was determined that I needed to learn how to walk, how to talk, how to do everything. I wanted to go back to school. I was a competitive gymnast at the time.
Wow.
I was adamant that I'd go back to training, and
you
know, that's happened over the years in its own unusual way. I never got back to competing, but that's okay. And it was through all of this, when everything was stripped away, that I had these conversations with myself, with who I believe is God or higher being, and just around what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose for life? And how do we tap into what our purpose is for our time here? So yeah, I got this most beautiful journey. It was all wrapped up in quite a lot of hardship and a lot of emotional struggle. Yeah, the story, I mean, I've just tapped on the surface of the story there. It goes on for quite a bit, quite a few years there, where it was very, very interesting for me. But through that, I was forced into this situation where I got to assess what life is about. I was only 12 years old, so I had no set views on the world. I didn't have life views, world views. I was an open book. I got this beautiful gift to learn all about life and make the most of it. And obviously I thought a lot about death. So people ask me, well, why are you fascinated with death?
Exactly.
And I have to say, it comes back to that moment when I literally died on an operating table. And I very much value life, and I very much value death. I don't think that this life is the end. And I believe that there's so much more open to us, and that all of this life is about learning and doing things according to our purpose. And we don't need to know the big picture. We just need to be open and put one foot in front of the other to get to where it is that we feel led to go.
Exactly.
So I live my life very much aligned with what do I think is right? What is my purpose? What am I meant to do? And I think, again, with COVID, I think here we are in lockdown. My question is, what is life inviting us to do?
Yeah.
What are the dreams that we've always had and the fear that's held us back, or we've been too busy, or it's never been the right time?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say now's a pretty good time to try some new
Exactly.
stuff. I know, Laura, you're going out on a bit of a ledge here, and you're trying new things, and you know, it's not necessarily comfortable, but what is life inviting us to do? What's the little pulling that we've had on our heart for years or months, or for you a little bit shorter than that time?
Yeah, I mean, what if it's only just popped up and you're like, oh, I could do this?
So
you know, maybe.
So sit and be still and do some time. I have behind me, you can see my chair. This is my sitting and thinking chair. I sit in that chair every day and I just process. And I think, what is it that I could do more of? What do I want to take out of my life? What is more that could come into my life? Where is the goodness? Where is the things that aren't serving me? Just sit and see what happens. Sit for a considerable amount of time. where you're alone. So I know it's really, really tricky. I've got some tips and tricks about how to function well when everybody's at home, when we're in this time of change right now, working from home, things like that.
Do you have that on a website or a link or a YouTube channel? Or?
I'm in the process of doing that. So I also have set up a organisation called Tiny Habits NZ. And so this is helping people to anchor in the smallest, tiniest actions to create really fruitful, successful habits in their life. And so there is a program which I run through that. It is more of it's a 90-minute program which I run, so that can be done online at this stage. But I run often webinars which are free, and they teach this process, they teach the FOG method. So I've trained under BJ Fogg, who is a behavior scientist at Stanford University. And he has taught us a lot around how to create the tiniest habits to get the biggest change. And he talks about how tiny is mighty. And we're talking the smallest things. It's where we don't need willpower. We don't need huge amounts of motivation to change what's going on for us. And it's really interesting because this really resonated with me, because before I even met with BJ Fogg, I had my book, which I'd written. And in my book, I talk about the 1 degree of change, about how the smallest things become the biggest things, how the little things we do today becomes the big things that we do or we have tomorrow. So the whole concept really resonates with me. And again, we're in isolation here, where things are so different. We have the capacity to redesign anything for our future. It may not feel like it while we can't go and do life as normal, but we actually have so much power in our hands right now, and so much of it comes back to connecting with our current moments. So for me, it's sitting in that chair behind me and connecting with, how do I use my time today? What is my focus? What do I feel called? What is life inviting me to do today?
I love that. So what is life inviting me to do today? You know, when you say that, for anybody who's watching, who's going, I'm just looking for some strength, I'm just looking for some courage. If we were to think about, whenever we're feeling a little bit doubtful or a little bit anxious or a little bit worried or fearful or, you know, resentful or angry, whatever the emotion is that we're feeling, if we were to be able to just stop and just pause and, like you say, get into your thinking chair, or just go to the loo and just close the door and say, no kids are allowed in here, this is my time right now, and put a sign up, Mum will be 10 minutes. You know, can you imagine? They'll be like, nah, Mum, go, trying to get it. But if we were to be able to find whatever space it is, you know, if the kids are on the tablet or whatever, and you're just wanting to go out and just do a little bit of gardening, even having that space where you can actually just go, I acknowledge what it is that I'm feeling. These feelings for me are real. I'm allowed to feel them. I can choose now to spend time immersed in my anger and my resentment and my fear. Or what about if I listen to what Kirsty just said, which is to ask that question of, what is life inviting me to do with this right now? You know, I think that then just helps us to swap our mindset into one that's a little bit more curious, a little bit more, okay, there's a lot of people who've been saying this is a really amazing time, and this is a time of change, and it's a time for renewal, and a time to reset and to recalibrate, and you know, this you're finding your new norm through this. So what about if our new norm at the end of this would be to become more curious about life and become less fearful of life, to become more at peace with where we are currently, and not continually striving for something that we don't even know yet how we get in there, but to actually focus on the little steps that we're taking, like you said, you know, taking one step in front at the time, you know, like, as long as it's in the right direction and it feels good, and it's in alignment with what you're thinking you're wanting to go, then isn't that a better way to spend the next 4 weeks than immersed in fear and stress?
Well, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better way to spend the time. I think also it's a time to realize that we don't control very much at all. We think we do, but if we look around at what's happening, we are not in control right now. We do not have much capacity to change what's going on. But what we are in control of is how we respond, what we do with our time. Like you said, our our attitude and the way that we think about it, the way that we process it. So I love that everything's been stripped back. Everything is coming back. If we are feeling afraid, and you talked about people are feeling quite uncertain, maybe unsure about what to do in this time, how to cope with it. Why are we afraid? What is it? Being afraid is a symptom of something bigger, I believe. And so let's peel back the layers. Let's try and go back 7 layers. I feel afraid because I feel that because I feel that because, and again, this can get quite, you can get quite vulnerable. I love to journal and I love writing prompts, and it's a really great way to sit down with a blank piece of paper and actually just peel those layers back and create a space to identify why we feel the need to be in control.
Yeah. And
we
to
all
not
do.
see, absolutely, you know, because if things are out of control, then we feel unsafe, right? And we don't feel secure and we don't feel stable. But if we can see something like asking ourselves those questions and really peeling back the layers, we're inviting ourselves to see that we're actually coming from a place of strength and a lot of, you know, courage when we're doing this inner work, as opposed to going, oh, there they go again. They're just thinking about, you know, getting all in touch with their emotions, you know, or whatever, which has typically in the past been seen as a weakness. If you're emotional, you're weak, right? You need to be strong. You need to be stoic. You need to be assertive. None of that applies anymore. You know,
it doesn't.
That's the old way of life. If we were to see this as COVID has now happened, okay, crash, right? Now we're picking ourselves back up again. That from the past is no longer how we need to move forward. How we need to move forward is, well, we're all more in touch with ourselves and we're all more connected, and we're finding out more about our passions, and we are, like you've said, you know, getting more okay with death and what does that mean for us, and you know, it doesn't just end there. You know, life doesn't just end because we're in isolation right now. Life continues, but what is it? How are we going to design our life so that when we emerge from this chrysalis that we're in, how is it going to look better, and how is it going to serve us more based off our new norm that we're creating?
Absolutely. And we don't know what it's going to look like when we come out of this. I love that you use the word chrysalis. It's nice, quite it's a word that keeps coming back to me, and I absolutely love that metaphor of a chrysalis, because when we come out of this, we don't know what the world on the outside is going to look like. We don't know how the world's going to work. We don't even know how long we're in this thing for at this stage. So it's a really great time to actually process it. There's a huge opportunity for connection. We feel very alone physically, but it's a great opportunity to write some letters to resolve any conflicts we have. And this is something that I talk about with my death coaching as well, is so the death coaching works when either somebody is at the end of life, they've got a diagnosis and they know that they're either going to die very soon or that they have the potential to die very soon. So I'll coach people through what that might be like, all different areas around what do they believe will happen, have they got their will set up, what about their family relationships, friendship relationships, what about heirloom, you know, there's so many elements to death. And so it comes from a very practical point of view, but also what are their beliefs around death, things like that. And something that they like to do is resolve all conflicts, write letters and get everything out to the surface. So in a way, we are potentially mourning our life. We're potentially going to a stage where things are so completely different. We don't know what's happening. Is this the end of how we used to do things? We don't know. But I find that writing letters or writing journals and things like that, it does sound a bit airy-fairy. It's not all sit down and just be, but it's very active things. And through that, you'll start to see the patterns of what are the things that I actually want for my life when we come out of here? What is important to me? Is my job important, or is it the connection with my family is important? And yes, we all need to go to work and make money, and we need to carry on with, you know, make sure that we can still live in this place. But there's always room for making life better, designing a better future, a better habit, a better connection somewhere. So I think there's loads of opportunity here as well. I think it's a really awful time. I think of the people in Italy, but even the people in Italy are getting together on their balconies and they're singing, they're playing games across their
Yeah.
I don't even know the word, you know, they're actually collaborating really beautifully. They're looking for the positive moments.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much we can do.
Yeah.
If we are afraid, let's address why we are afraid.
Absolutely.
If we want to know how to improve our life, what do we want to improve? And I'm very happy to help people. You can get in touch with me. I've got some steps to doing that. This whole tiny habits exercise and the method behind that is very, very effective.
So, Kirsty, if they were to get in touch with you, is the best way through Tiny Habits NZ?
So it's tinyhabits.co.nz.
.co.nz, perfect.
That's my work side of things. My personal brand is kirstysalisbury.com, and that's where you learn more about me and my podcast, my near-death experience, my book, the things that I'm doing personally. So I jump between the two. I have a lot of fun. What do? I do what makes me happy. Yeah.
And
I hope that's helpful.
That's all we can do right now, right?
It's all we can do. It is all we can do. Let's connect and be happy and make the most of everything.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. Kirsty, in wrapping up, if we were to, if you were to put together in a sentence for anybody who's watching, who's just like, wow, I am blown away by this woman. I'm going to check out her pages. I'm going to get hold of her. I'm going to find out anything more. What would you say for them until the point that they do that, where they can just continue to gain some courage and some strength, if that's what they're needing, to just get through the next wee while? What would you say?
The main thing that comes back to me is how we have the ability to change our circumstances. Our current situation isn't permanent. And that could be in any area of our life. It might be our health, it might be our relationships, it might be the fact we're in lockdown, it might be our career. Anything is changeable, and we have the power to change it regardless of our current circumstances. So yeah, we have the power to design our life. We can do many, many things. It may take some time, it may not be as straightforward as we think, but we have the ability to change our future regardless of our current circumstances.
Thank you. So such a powerful video, this, really. You know, you've come from such a place of hardship, but through that you're in this incredible space right now to be able to share your experiences, to be able to help people to rise above this. You know, keep your head above the water. You don't have to be pulled down by this. You know, you can float. It's okay. And with wonderful people like you, Kirsty, to be able to help anybody who needs it through that, and coming to talk to everybody about that. You know, we really do appreciate your time and wish you all the very best over this time. And I'm so hoping that, you know, anybody who's watching, get hold of Kirsty. She is absolutely incredible. She's always up for a laugh. She's full of fun. And, you know, I can only say that experience has gotten you to where you are right now. And it's through that you now have all this ability to be able to help anybody who's in a similar situation. So I just want to say thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on board.
Oh, thank you, Laura. It's amazing to be here. I love what you're doing. I love that you're opening conversation, because that is so important. So we're here to support you. Keep going. This is amazing. Well done.
Thank you so much, Kirsty. We'll see you. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
See you then. Bye.